Welcome to another episode of A Reimagined Energy. Today's guest is Maggie Woolsey-Gray of the EVAAC Association. So the EVAAC Association is the Electric Vehicle Association of Atlantic Canada. If you're considering buying or renting or leasing an EV in the next little while and you live in Atlantic Canada, this is the group to join. Here we go with Maggie. Let's get started. Welcome, Maggie.
Hi.
Hi. So tell us, what is EVAAC?
What is EVAAC? Well, it's a group of like-minded individuals that share an enthusiasm for electric vehicles, for new technology, solar arrays, that sort of thing. But we mainly focus on the movement of electric vehicles and the adoption of electric vehicles in the current state of the gas vehicle market right now.
Well, it was interesting because when we first invested in an electric vehicle ourselves about 3.5 years ago, this was the first group that we gravitated toward because it's Atlantic Canada. You guys have a really good finger of what's you got your finger on the pulse of what's happening. But what changes have you seen in the past 5 years and with people's attitudes toward EVs in Atlantic Canada?
There's been a lot of changes, yeah. When we first, we've been EV adopters for 5 years now.
Yeah, you were one of the first ones, I think, in Atlantic Canada, weren't you?
We were the very first Model 3 in Atlantic Canada. We actually flew to Toronto and picked up the car and brought it here to make sure we were the first one.
That's an interesting, that could be a podcast all in its own.
Oh yeah, no, that was an interesting trip. I actually spent 2 days just watching the screen as Ken, my partner, was driving, and just so I could understand how this thing worked, because I had never seen one before myself, and he had never seen one either, other than the odd one that maybe we saw in Quebec or whatnot. But it was a very new driving experience. It was quiet, it was clean, and yeah, we had a little bit of road anxiety.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
the infrastructure wasn't quite in place. This is 5 years ago as compared to today. So not a lot of charging stations to choose from at that time?
No, with the Teslas, you have a supercharger. So the supercharger was in Rivière-du-Loup, and the next one was EVAAC. So we had to find ways to charge, and we became very creative, and we also made some mistakes, but we learned quickly. And as I think most EV adopters do, they've learned very quickly, what their driving habits are like and where the chargers are. We have great apps that are out there now, such as PlugShare, the Charge Point, the Flow Network. They have terrific apps. They show the chargers are in use so that you can maybe plan to charge elsewhere if there's another one close by. So yeah, so it's really grown exponentially, if you want to put it that way. It's where we were maybe just one, and if you saw another electric vehicle, especially if you saw a Tesla, but any electric vehicle was like, oh my goodness, there's that electric car. And now it's like, oh yeah, there's one.
Yeah, it's another vehicle now.
Yeah, so
which is a good thing.
Yeah, it's really changed, and people's ideals about electric vehicles before were no, that's not for me. I'm not going to go into electric, and it's too expensive, and I it's just not for me. And now people are saying, well, where do you charge the car? How long does it take to charge? So there's the whole question and answer period between new potential EV owners has really changed.
They're more curious, you would say.
Very, yeah.
That's a really good thing. There's a more keenness to learn, and probably a lot of the myths that are out there are probably being answered and addressed.
They are, and as we know, there's a lot of garbage out there, and that's really when I call it garbage. They just like to get people riled up and start some kind of controversy. And We're just here as a group to really expel a lot of that and give people confidence that knowing that if you do find yourself in a position that you can get into an electric vehicle, you're making a very well-deserved decision, well-deserved to yourself. You're making the best decision you can.
Exactly. Before we dive into the opportunities, of course, you have to go back and talk about some of the challenges of EV owners today in Atlantic Canada. What are some of them that come to mind?
Charging infrastructure probably has to be one of the largest ones. We're so used to having a gas station at every corner, and we're just used to that simplicity and ease of travel. And I like to think that maybe we're just doing everything wrong. We were doing everything wrong. We're doing everything right now. So chargers, home chargers, installation. If you live in an apartment building, it's not necessarily easy to get a charger installed in your parking location. There's lots of other demands. I don't know. It's limited. The infrastructure is limited. The supply of vehicles is limited. And really that's because of the recession and the pandemic. I mean, it's the EV growth came kind of at a wrong time. we were just getting our wheels turning, and all of a sudden, wham, the whole world shut down. So, so we're suffering as much as every other industry is too.
Exactly. That's it. So how can some of these challenges be turned into opportunities?
Well, there are some opportunities, such as the HRM is putting out tenders right now for charging infrastructure. So you're going to be seeing a lot more public use chargers that will be available around the city. And I think that will calm and ease a lot of people's decisions to get into an electric vehicle. They may never ever use those chargers, but they're there if they need them. So it's like having a hospital, and you may never need the hospital, but it's nice to know that there is a backup.
And would you say that there's a larger selection of EVs that are out there as well? Like there's more to choose from in the market?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the growth over the last 5 years has been phenomenal. We have to give hats off to Tesla because they really did push this electric vehicle movement. They did one thing right, and they did it very well. And now we see every other manufacturer coming up with their vehicles. We have the Hyundais, we have the Kias, and so lots of other vehicles are being manufactured right now. And again, supply chain, it's just been a real struggle, but they're coming. We're seeing more and more. We saw a brand new Subaru all electric vehicle. Different types of makes and models. So it's really nice to see. It's a welcome sight.
So what would you say is some of your advice for someone considering to purchase an EV? For one thing, there's level 2 chargers, there's level 3 chargers. To somebody, may not quite know the difference, but I guess to start, what would be some of your advice to someone?
Well, good advice is do your homework. Really, you sort of determine what your day-to-day needs are for a vehicle. You may only need a vehicle for commuting around the city, picking up groceries, maybe making the odd little drive to Truro or down the Eastern Shore, so where there are chargers along the way. So if that's all your needs are, then maybe a Nissan Leaf might be your answer. If you are a salesperson, such as myself, I have to drive a lot throughout the whole province, and I need a vehicle that has a longer range. So a longer range battery might be the better thing for you. So, but join things like EVAAC, joining those groups, those are great groups. And there's lots of other electric vehicle type groups out there. But I mean, I have to plug that EVAAC is probably one of the best groups that's out there. Yeah, we're the most visible. And don't wait. Don't wait for your perfect vehicle. If you think that you might have any inclination that, you might go electric at some point, don't wait, because the longer you wait, the harder it is going to be getting into an electric vehicle and making that leap.
Well, getting into EVAAC, what are some of the nice highlights that have happened that, your organization has done? Because I know when I was an early member, used to do a lot of meetups at IKEA. You used to do a lot of really great opportunities and events. So I know COVID threw a wrench into a lot of things, but what's it looking like in the next few months for you guys?
Well, where we were doing our monthly meetups, as you said, at IKEA. IKEA has been a great supporter of EVAAC, and it's a great facility because they're fully sustainable themselves, and they run on their own solar power, so that's great to see. So yeah, we were doing the meetups every month there. We would do group drives, just to be out in the valley and see, 15 Teslas driving one after the other. It really does create a little bit of chat and talk, and where we would stop, people would ask us questions about the cars. We've also done things like Christmas toy drive, where we support Ronald McDonald House. And, we also participate in the parades, the Bedford parades at Christmas time. That's another nice one. And we've done some group things just for ourselves as well. So members would have an opportunity maybe to go camping in New Brunswick. And I think they had a drive-in movie night, the one night that they were camping there. But just showing all the different ways and opportunities that you can have with these cars, and really driving-wise, cost-wise, doesn't really cost you very much at all. So
No, and it's a really nice community that has been established. One of my favorites is cleaning up, the garbage that can accumulate around these EV chargers, and wind can blow things around, and you do some cleanup days.
Yeah, we did. We did what we call adopt a charger. So EVAAC Group has adopted the superchargers at Enfield. And so come springtime, we get out there and we clean up, and throughout the summer, and we just have a coffee, clean, and chat. And it's, again, a great opportunity to get together with other electric vehicle drivers. And it doesn't necessarily have to be the Tesla ones. We have had other vehicles there as well. And it's a great way for people to come out and just ask questions about the cars, because when they see all the cars, people feel more comfortable rather than just approaching one person one-on-one. See, and they wonder, what's going on over there? What are those guys doing? And so we've had a lot of fun and events, things like that, you're right, it's created a very cohesive group of people. I've made some wonderful friends through the whole 5 years that we've been with EVAAC, and we just share a lot of common interests, and not everybody sees things on the same page all the time, but it's been a great group of people, and met people even like you.
Yeah, exactly. What are some examples of that come to your mind, of innovation in Atlantic Canada?
We've got a lot of good stuff here, yeah. So we have a battery testing lab, which is run by Dr. Lucas Swan, and
there's the tire generation, I believe.
Michelin tire. Yeah, Michelin tire. Yeah, they put a notice out that they're going to be expanding into EV tires, EV-specific tires, possibly looking at hiring up to 70 people for that. So creating job employment as well. We also have had Next Ride, which offers test drives on all the electric vehicles. And they will go everywhere in the province to facilitate these drives for people, non-committal, they are just there to show the electric vehicles and let people try them out, and touch them and feel them, and play with them, and get people really excited about these cars. We also have companies like All EV, which EVAAC was a main supporter of All EV before they started, and they had this great idea that they were going to open up this shop and make it educational, and they've done that, and they've done very well with that, and they've put on clinics and information and webinars and YouTube videos on all these electric vehicles. I mean, I can honestly say, of all the vehicles I've ever driven or owned, I understand the ins and outs and everything underneath the body of that Model 3 that I own. And that's something in itself. I understand how it works. I understand what everything does. And I've never had that opportunity with any other vehicle other than an electric car.
That's true. It is. You learn to become a better driver, I'd say.
Yeah, and I never knew that science was so important in school. So stay in school and study science.
Don't skip progress.
Don't skip science. Skip all the other classes, but don't
Whatever you
skip
do.
science. Yeah. And math, because you're going to have to figure out your percentages of
Yeah.
how much battery range you have left and how far
That's
you
right.
can
Do the
go.
calculations. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Don't skip
there are
that.
important subjects in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Nova Scotia Power, I believe they also have what they call a V2G grant. And a smart charging program. Like, do you know a little bit about that?
We were actually going to be participating in that, but it couldn't work because we live in an apartment building and we have underground parking, but the internet connection isn't that great. So you need to have an internet connection. So what that program does is it monitors how people are charging, and it will ask your car to stop charging if there's more demand on the grid. And if there's less demand, then it will continue to charge. So that's just a bit about the program. There's a lot more to it, but it is a study that they're doing. I don't know exactly how many people they have on there, but they have a fair amount, and those people are being remunerated for their time in the program. So, and I think they also includes a free charger with it. So it's a pretty good program, and so Nova Scotia Power is really taking the steps to really see how they can better improve our charging demand needs and that sort of thing. I mean, you're seeing all the windmills going up, coming to a cleaner energy. So it's, there's not 100% clean energy everywhere. However, they're doing the best they can with what they have at this point in time. And
Exactly.
They are making concerted, conscientious steps towards improving that. And that's what we like.
Exactly. Well, what local businesses do, or what can a business do, even in Atlantic Canada or the rest of Canada? How can they be thinking about utilizing electric vehicles, maybe for their employees or for their fleets, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, if you have a company that has salespeople and they're just driving around locally or within 150 kilometer range, change those cars over to electric cars and plug them in every night. They have a full battery every morning, and your guys are ready to go out. And the cost is so negligible, 2 to 4 cents a kilometer cost. So it's a very low cost. They can buy those vehicles. They can lease the vehicle, 100% write off on a lease. So there's lots where they can save there. Install car chargers at your point of business. Whether you have a retail outlet, there's, I think Sleep Country, they have 2 chargers outside of their business. Who would have thought? I mean, well, I guess they, bring your car in, charge it up, and go have a sleep on the mattress and see if you like it. So, yeah, but it's more and more chargers. I mean, I would feel much more comfortable if I had any type of anxiety about owning an electric car, that I knew if I went to the grocery store, I could plug in, spend my 25 minutes in the store, and come out and gain 30 kilometers of charging. The cost of the store is going to be 5 cents, 6 cents. So, they're making more profit on me by shopping there. So, yeah.
Exactly. Well, that's an interesting thought. I love that, because right now there's, it's a real attraction to go to a destination and you know that there is a charger there, especially the accommodation industry as well.
It's exciting.
As more and more people stay, right?
Yeah. You show up at a hotel and you see they have a charger there and nobody's parked there. You're like, bonus. Like,
yes.
It's like, I didn't know you had a charger. So again, that's something where accommodations, Airbnbs, bed and breakfast, put those types of information in your listings now. Just say EV charger on site or close by. Yeah, it definitely is. It's another perk to staying at their location. And then one other thing, the Bridgewater Police, for instance, they have a Tesla Model 3 that they use as a patrol car. And they're finding great savings with that. I think they've already gone beyond their expectations. I don't have the numbers just yet, but we're going to see more and more of that type of industry go to electric.
Well, there's no such thing as as running ahead or out chasing a police car. I mean, they can out chase you big time. So,
and I'm excited. I'm fully eager to approach the city police and say, let's get you guys on some e-bikes. There's,
oh my goodness, that would be such a great thing.
It is. I mean, there is no holding them back going up those hills in Halifax.
There's just a few of them.
Yeah.
But definitely, there was been recently a $1.25 million investment by, the North South Power Company. And where's that? They're in
Yeah, that has
Nigeria.
to do with Zen bikes, I believe.
Zen bikes. Okay,
I
that's a different thing?
well, I'm not sure because Kurt has sent some information over to us on that, so I don't really have a lot of information on that.
Uh-huh.
But I know that I think it has to do with the Zen bicycle,
Uh-huh.
which they are an electric bike company, and they, as far as Kurt said, he sent this to me. He's an electric provider in Nigeria will help them bring homegrown battery technology to the world.
Interesting.
That is
And
very interesting.
This is Kurt Sampson you're
Yeah,
referring to. He's part of the EVAAC board.
he is. Yeah, he's one of the co-founders. He and Jeremy Bernardin and Johnny Beckett are three of the main people that started up EVAAC. So again, just a few young guys that are really interested, and they didn't mind having an old person like me join in on the group. So we're very diverse. Yeah, we're very diverse because I would say we're anywhere from age 35 up to 75. I don't know. I'm not giving away anybody's ages, but
I know, right? That's the top one. Well,
yeah.
Maggie, I really appreciate you joining me today, and continue on with the great work that EVAAC is doing. And at the end of on our website, we'll add the link if anybody wants to join. You have a really active Facebook page.
We do. We have over 2,500 members.
That's
so
awesome.
In 5 years' time, to go from a group of about 6 people to 2,500 people, it's phenomenal. It's one of the, as a lot of people have come back to us and said, it's probably one of the Facebook groups that they really enjoy being a part of, because we're very conscious of the content that's in there and really keep on the educational and the awareness of what's going on out there. So it's, to me, if I want to know anything about electric vehicles or what's going on in the world with EVs, I just go to the EVAAC page because everybody's posting and reposting, and it's really a great group of sharing people.
Yeah, and it's regionally focused as well.
It is. Yeah, I mean, we still bring other things and that in there, and but we don't allow any, anti-EV or hate
Or sales
type garbage, if you want to put it that way. We don't allow any of that on there. And it's just, so a lot of people don't want to be involved with, all the other stuff that's out there. They have questions and they want answers, and we're there to provide that to them. So it's great. People will ask a question on there, and all of a sudden I'll see like, bam, 20 answers. Like, well, I guess I don't have to answer that one.
4 years ago you may have, but now there's other people who it's great to see it growing.
It's been exciting. Like the last 5 years have been a real exciting ride, and we're really enjoying it. And we see the next 5 years, the vision of the group is to really promote the fun and enjoyment of the vehicles. I think we've done our educational part, which I mean, we'll never stop educating, but it's really a group now where we can have different areas. So we might have a chapter in Cape Breton, we might have a chapter in Halifax, a chapter of the Eastern Shore, down the South Shore, the Valley. So we'll have all these different chapters and people that can get together and have their own events and then share those ideas and such. So I think it's part of a great movement that we're really, really proud to be a part of.
It's great to see the how it's all evolving as well, and it's
evolving.
Evolve.
That's right.
Evolving with the times. Well, thank you, Maggie. It was great, and thanks for joining me today. Love to have you guys back on a future episode, and maybe in 5 years' time, and see how we can compare this to the next. Who knows?
Oh, definitely. No. Well, thank you for the invite. It was great to chat.
That was Maggie from EVAAC, who was talking about all the wonderful things that their association is doing in Atlantic Canada. And thanks again for joining me today. This episode was sponsored by Smart Energy, Canada's clean energy technology event that's taking place in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Make sure you register. I'm Maria McGowan, and thanks for listening to Reimagined Energy.